It is the Mosley Show, and thank you, CNB, Central National Bank, Ascension Providence, and a host of others. And we'll be talking about them throughout the program today. But thank you to Scotty Swingler. Lizzie's on hand, too, back in the mothership as we get ready for another show. And so much to get to, so much to cover. Scotty, I'm sad, and I'm glad I didn't have any emotional investment. I think you remember my initial response to what is this LeBron decision? It just felt sort of fabricated and nothing. I mean, as only LeBron could do, though, it sent the ticket sales soaring for what was going to happen, because I think that people thought he might say this is his final year, and no one would enjoy like a retirement tour as much as LeBron. You know how some players just like, nah, I don't want that. Get me on out of here. No one would love it more than LeBron. So his announcement, his cryptic tweet yesterday, basically hinting that today at noon would be, I guess that was noon Eastern, I don't know, but that today was going to be the big decision, made everybody think back to 15 years ago when he made the decision to go to the Heat. It was a huge moment. Young Scotty was probably in like junior high or high school.
Mosley. I want you to guess where I was and what I was doing when LeBron made the decision the first time. We've joked about things like this, so I think you'll have an indication. As a hint, I believe he did that announcement in June.
Let's see. A young Scotty. What year would this have been? 15 years ago. So you're 33 now.
10, yeah, probably 2010.
It's before you arrive on the Baylor campus?
I was in high school, yes.
Okay. Summer of, I don't know, like youth camp or something? What would you have been doing?
Very close. Very close. I was on a basketball mission trip.
Okay.
In a hotel room with some other high school guys, and we watched the decision. Yeah.
And where were y'all doing mission work?
Along the border, southern border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ton of fun, man, actually. It's old Mark Weibel, who's one of the chaplains for the Baylor basketball team, does.
Yeah.
They not only, go do the mission work, but they have built basketball courts all over the world now, and they train semi-professional teams, and most of it's doing camps for kids, which is what we were doing, was teaching kids basketball. But he takes basketball over the world with that stuff, man. It's called Hoops for Hope. They actually sponsored, sorry for the tangent, they actually sponsored some of Rogue Media's high school basketball coverage last year. We did some work with Hoops for Hope.
Yeah, and by the way, last night I was doing some high school. That's what I love about Rogue, man. We're all over the place. Sometimes maybe too much. We take on a lot, right? And so last night there was a big Class 6A high school called Lake Highlands, and my daughter went there. And I thought once she graduated, I would retire from doing the Lake Highlands podcast. I was told otherwise, and the people were very upset when I talked about walking away from the Boneyard podcast. But anyway, Scotty, and by the way, there's Cherry Johnson, Sigmund and James, one of the great law firms in all of Central Texas. We're so thankful. The Johnson of that group just got a big award recently, top 10 lawyer in the country when it comes to these trucking incidents or accidents. And Scott James, who I've known forever, he's a man, before Scotty, they had the swamp soup, which is what they have at the Brazos Landing. Scott was a few years behind me at Baylor, but I brought him into Fiji back in the day. And Scott and I would go down to Buzzard Billy's, and we would eat the beer cheese soup. And man, that was our favorite soup. That was at that time in my life, that was as close as I would come to any beer, and most of my life, I should say, in case my parents are watching. No, but that's true. That's the beer. That's about as close as especially undergraduate, as I came to any of that kind of thing, is the beer cheese soup. And man, was that stuff great. All right, Scotty, we were on LeBron. There was some excitement over what this would be. What was LeBron going to announce? We now know, and they didn't even wait for noon. Like 90 minutes before, this company puts out the announcement, and it's a kind of, well, it's Scotty. Let's show them what they've won. Let's show them what all this hysteria and excitement was about. And oh, by the way, Scotty, where I didn't finish, those tickets for what could have been potentially LeBron's final game went from, when he said this, it went from like $86 a ticket to $500 or $600 a ticket. Like immediately, everybody wanted in there because they're like, oh my gosh, he's going to make this announcement. People were speculating that it could be retirement, and he didn't do it. Scotty, let's show our folks exactly what this was all about, the LeBron announcement. And Scotty, I think it'll send folks just racing to the liquor store once they see this.
Well, everyone's on pins and needles across the country. You ready to go, LeBron? Where's the powder?
Left it at home.
LeBron, fans want to know where you're taking your talents this year. What's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is tough. In this fall, I'm gonna be taking my talents to Hennessy VSOP.
VSOP? And this was the conclusion you woke up with this morning?
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
Why?
I feel like it's gonna give me the best opportunity to win more at hosting. And not only that, win at signature cocktails, win at having a good time, win at impressing guests, win at making memories, win at making it look easy, win at leaving people wanting more.
LeBron, appreciate it.
I like my decision.
Oh, Scotty.
Matt, I got. I need to own it. I already owned it once on the show that you were right and I was wrong about Baylor's history at tight end. Now I've got to admit to you, I got. I could not sleep, in fact, last night. I was so anxious that my favorite basketball player since I was like 10 years old was going to hang it up, 10 or 11, whenever he entered the NBA. And turns out that, nope, it was just a Hennessy ad. So all of that for naught. Well played, LeBron. Well played. Very effective marketing there, I would think.
Do we know that actor that's playing the role of the interviewer? He looks.
I do not know who it is. I
can
Google it.
All right. I was trying to think to myself, what has he been in? Why might I know him? But yes, it was a triple fake by LeBron, and it is Hennessy. Scotty, are the folks there in China Spring and in Central Texas, have they ever been tempted to go get them a bottle of Hennessy? And be honest with me, and you generally are, I believe with me. Have you ever had a sip of Hennessy in your entire life?
Not that I recall. I don't believe so. It is not typically the spirit of choice in the places where I tend to drink such things.
Dichotomy's not. They got a lot of nice bottles back there. Surely they have some.
Oh, but see, if I'm gonna go sit at Dichotomy, or more recently,
Latte.
Now that I work there, I'll go sit at Red Herring's. Got a nice bar there. It's an old fashioned, Matt. It's just real simple.
Yeah.
Just tried and true, classic.
Let me tell you, my first run in with Hennessy, it was they were the main sponsors for this horrible fight card in Dallas. And I can't remember if it was at Fair Park or if it was Mesquite Rodeo. I do remember the lighting being horrible and like going for like some brisket nachos, which I'm sure were great at either venue. I'm sure they were just wonderful. And stepping down to what I thought was just a normal step to get back onto the rodeo floor or the fairground floor, to get back. We had ringside seats. And Dallas doesn't have a lot of fights. So the ones they do, you want to go to. It's kind of a fun thing to go do. And I fell. Instead of it being a normal step, it was about a 5-foot drop, and because the lighting was so bad at this venue, and I stepped off, and there was no floor. Right there was and I just fell on my face. And my buddy, I remember, rushed to my aid, and I had brisket nachos all over my glasses. It was a bad scene, but they had the ring. The ring girls at these fights. After each round, of course, they'll have a scantily clad female, and this still happens, I believe, at the Vegas fights, come through holding one of these, and you can't really see me, but they're holding up their card, right, for what round it's going to be next. And it was the Hennessy girls. And so at some point, given my broadcasting stature at the time, we were called upon to go up to the Hennessy VIP lounge. And so I thought, well, we should go up there and see what's going on. And it was about what you think it would be at one of these fights. It was 2 leather couches in the middle of just this concrete, like where they show the swine, like the swine pavilion, or maybe it was where the bulls were kept. And it's Mosley's just rolling big time. And I remember them saying, we're giving out free shots of, Hennessy. And I said, my buddy will try it. Okay. So I sold my buddy, who shall remain nameless. Okay. Big Church of Christ guy. I
dated one of those one time. I know how that goes.
He did go ahead and try out some Hennessy, and but that was quite a night. A fight card at like Fair Park with the Hennessy girls, and that is kind of how that whole thing went down. So, way to go, LeBron! Way to fake out all of America. Now let's move on, Scotty, to our next controversy, and this involved Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones had to respond to this today on his radio show, which he, about a year ago, he was so mad that he was threatening to get these radio guys fired. Now he seems to be in a better mood. Cowboys coming off a win. Pass rush looked a lot better. He's open to possibly trading, which we'll hear from him on that. But all the stuff, and Scotty, I don't know if you have footage of, I don't know if we can show that, can we? Are we allowed to show footage? Okay, I guess we can. All right, this is YouTube. We can do anything we want. Now, Scotty, it seems to me that what he's doing is very obvious. He flips somebody off and then he points right at him. Now, before that, there's a nice thumbs up to the crowd, but then he clearly gives the middle finger. He flight. Okay, I'm not going to do it, but he I mean, again, and it seemed good-natured. It seemed kind of fun, but he obviously displayed an obscene gesture, the middle finger. Now, I've looked this up. Scotty, I didn't have to look too far. I don't want to act like it was incredible research on my part, but Bud Adams, back in the day, the former owner of the Oilers and the Titans, flipped off the Bills fans, fined $250,000. David Tepper, who once hired Matt Rule to be his head coach for the Panthers, he poured drinks. He was mad at some fans when he was in his suite, and he poured drinks on them, fined $300,000. I mean, Jerry deserves a big fine. He can't be flipping people off. But he was asked on his radio show today what that was all about, and Scotty, here is his response.
you gave the Jet fans the finger, were you just telling them how many wins they're going to have this year, or is that like their IQ?
That was unfortunate that was a kind of a exchange with our fans out in front of us. There was a swarm of Cowboy fans out in front, not Jet fans, Cowboy fans. And the entire stadium was brimming with the enthusiasm of Cowboys, and certainly late in the game. And that was inadvertent on my part because that was right after we'd made our last touchdown, and we were all excited about. There wasn't any antagonistic issue or anything like that. I just put up the wrong show on the hand, but that was inadvertently done. And I'm not kidding. It was, if you want to call it accidental, you can call it accidental, but it got straightened around pretty quick. I've had a chance to look at it. It got straightened around pretty quick, but the intention was thumbs up. And then basically pointing at our fans because everybody was jumping up and down excited.
Everybody's jumping up, down, excited. And he meant to just kind of do a thumbs up. The inadvertent middle finger. Scotty, how many times has this happened to you? You're somewhere, you're just wanting to celebrate with a crowd. You're maybe at a Baylor event. Maybe it was a church function.
At a church function,
area. And you're just you're caught up in the moment, and you just want to, maybe you're at a youth camp, and man, you guys are having such a great time, and you mean to throw the thumbs up, or but then the other thing comes out. Then the middle finger comes out. It's hard to buy, but you do have an age factor.
I was going to say, Matt, Jerry's
old man. Yeah.
Jerry's a little older, and sometimes when you get to be that age and you intend for something to come out and it doesn't quite come out the way you want, Jerry should maybe consult a doctor. There might be some medication he can take to make sure his middle finger doesn't accidentally or involuntary slip out again when he intends to do a thumbs up. Matt, this is such a joke. He even the best part of that clip we just read is when he goes, well, and I did the wrong finger came out, but he starts to say the F word. And did you see the little short captures that? It literally goes, I did the and there's an F with a dash on the short.
It's just like there's certain people you could kind of buy it from and go, okay, maybe he screwed up or he is old or whatever. But like a guy that loves a good dirty joke, that just when he was asked about, is a tie like kissing your sister? You remember his response to that was like very off color and weird and cringy. And of course, I had to be right there. I've gotten a lot of feedback on that, Scotty. My face when he made that crude joke about, well, what does that taste like or something. He was saying that to Mike Silver, but I happened to be standing right there, and I just kind of did like. I'm glad though, honestly, that I didn't laugh. Like I think I had the proper response. Like on something that gross and cringy. Like, you don't want to be the over laugher laughing at the dirty old man's joke. I feel like I'm okay, even though I looked kind of weird doing it. I feel okay about my response to his weird joke about a tie is like kissing your sister. To which, and again, I've known Mike Silver forever, but I like sometimes for our audience peeling back the curtain a little bit on some of those conversations when we're in there tight to Jerry, and like. At the very end of that conversation, I see Mike Silver kind of give him a hug, and he's going to say something to him. Mike Silver's a longtime Sports Illustrated writer, and then he was with the NFL Network, and he's fairly well known. And Scotty, he says something to him like, Jerry, on this game, this was after that tie against the Packers. He's like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm thinking, first of all, do you think Jerry even knows if Mike Silver's writing a column or if he's doing TV or has any clue what Mike Silver's talking about? Like, I promise you, You will not catch me ever, Scotty, with Mac Rhodes or Linda Livingstone or Dave Aranda, even as that I get along with all those people really well. You will never hear me lean in and go, I'm going to take care of you on this radio broadcast. I'm going to take care. I mean, that's an odd way to approach it. But one of the reasons that Mike Silver and Jeff Pearlman used to be like this too. One of the reasons they sometimes got great stuff, Pearlman especially, because he'd go out with athletes and they would drink wine and start drinking and stuff. And these athletes would say all this crazy stuff. That's how John Rocker ended up saying all that horrible stuff. The former Braves closer. Maybe he also closed for the Mets or the Yankees. But John Rocker said all that awful stuff and it got into Sports Illustrated. And you're like, how do they know not to, how did they say this stuff to a writer? Well, a writer may have been, let's just say, Scotty, if they were at the Red Herring, they would not have been saying, bring us another water, bring us another coffee. So again, that is kind of how some of my associates used to do things. Now, have I ever been with an athlete or a coach or even Jerry when they're drinking? The answer is yes. But there was some sort of decorum. One night I was with Jerry at the Sky Bar, and it wasn't just the two of us, it was a media party. But somehow I got locked into Jerry, and for about an hour we were like he was like right there in my face, and he just kept going and going and going. But I also kind of inherently knew, while it was good to hear some of this information at the Sky Bar as Jerry's having whatever, Johnny Walker Blue or whatever he was drinking that night. And I remember clearly thinking, I don't want anything in my system because I may get some really good stuff and I don't want to forget about any of this. And we talked for an hour, but I knew, Scotty, that I couldn't race back and like try to write a bunch of stuff. I knew that I needed to keep it in the back of my mind for either background or I could ask about it moving forward. Now, there was alcohol involved in one of the craziest nights that came up in that documentary Scotty, I don't know if you ever watched all those episodes on Netflix. The Cowboys documentary was really good, but the famous quote from Jerry Jones, and that was all alcohol fueled, was that night that basically Jerry told a group of reporters, and I say group, there were about three of them, he said 500 coaches. There are 500 coaches that could win a Super Bowl with that roster. And that was him ripping on Jimmy. And what had led to that was Jerry had gone by, seen all the Cowboys assistant coaches, and was going to do a toast, and Jimmy scoffed at him and didn't do the toast. And it embarrassed Jerry, and that's how things sort of escalated. And that, of course, eventually led to the parting of ways. And Jerry paid Jimmy somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million, when that was a lot of money. Still is to a lot of us, but back when that was a lot of NFL type money, to just go away, just to leave. And that was the settlement. And that was the end of the Cowboys. All right. Now, Scotty, since we're on the Cowboys and since we're on Jerry, do we also have the other one where Jerry, I think we do. This is Jerry. This is good football stuff, because this is going to excite Cowboys fans. Even though Scotty came on and basically yesterday, after I'm trying to kind of celebrate with the Cowboys fans, I wasn't celebrating, but I was kind of at least admitting that they played really well against the Jets. There were very good signs, and maybe they could get on a little run. Scotty wanted no part in it. Scotty brought up the rest of the schedule, talked about how they would lose a ton of games. And so which is fine. I like it. I like differing minds. I like a different opinion. I absolutely love that. But Jerry was asked about, with the trade deadline coming up and the way the team's playing, would he consider making a trade?
Jerry, last one for you here. You know, in regards to trades, you've typically said that you wait for the phone to ring instead of picking it up and making the call. But when you see some of these encouraging signs from your team and the way they perform out there, does it tempt you at all to be the one picking up the phone to go get another piece?
Well, I think that's constant. I think that old sign out, open for business, is there. And I think that we are continually looking. As we go on into this season, teams will position themselves where they basically feel like less of a contender because of the losses or because of circumstance on their team. That's when you'll see sometimes some better players that are available because the team has decided to start redoing some things on their salary cap structure, for instance. There's opportunity there. And that's when you start getting those calls. And yes, we're in a position to improve our team if we get an opportunity to.
All right. Cowboys have done in division trades before. If that was going to happen, I would think the New York Giants would be probably the most likely trading partner, although that would surprise me. Scotty, what we need to start looking at in the couple of weeks leading up to the trade deadline is the teams like Ravens are in a bad way right now, although they probably are good enough that there's still a belief they could come rolling back. I would say the Browns, because the Browns have very talented pass rushers and they have a pretty good defense. The Jets didn't look good the other day on defense, but they do have a couple of talented pass rushers and they got a couple of tackles that are good. And by the way, let's not act like Kenny Clark has been a nice addition. Odigizua is a good player. Mosley's playing okay. He's getting to play. But you could use another defensive tackle. You could use another pass rusher. Right? The other day, Fowler, Sam Williams, James Houston. You got some really good performances from your pass rushers. J. Davian Clowney was brought in. He's been kind of whatever. He looks okay out there, but he's no great shakes. I think that's where you could help your team the most. And so I think what Jerry is saying there is you just look at your standings today and look at who's struggling and look at who's already 1-4. Jets are winless. Even look at your 2-3 teams, not the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are good enough that they're going to keep fighting. And we'll see where all this goes. But I think the Cowboys, I think Jerry is so proud of himself, first of all, for the Pickens trade. And he so wants the Micah trade to work. I don't know if it will or not, and we won't know for a good while. But he is, and I've been around him enough to know kind of when he's in this mode. He's in Trader Jerry mode. He loves the thought of being able to help his team. Now, what he'd really like to do, he only does like first round pick type trades in desperate times. That one season was getting away from them, Scotty, a couple of years ago. Well, it's now been 5-6 years ago. That one season was getting away from them, and they had fired. Jason was still coaching, and they had fired Paul Graham, or whoever was their offensive line coach. Paul Alexander, I think was his name. They fired him, and they were like 2-3 or 3-4, wherever. And at the deadline, he makes a deal for Amari Cooper. Amari might have been with the Raiders at the time. And this led to, Scotty, a famous or an infamous Mosley tweet. This led to a tweet I put out that ended up getting like 100 or 200,000 views that people liked, but the problem was people didn't know it was a joke. And I used to write these kind of funny headlines. I loved this guy Borowitz from the New Yorker. It was like Babylon Bee, if our audience knows some of that stuff. And I used to love their little headlines because they were very funny. And so I would say things like that about Jerry. And occasionally it would go viral because because Jerry's so weird and crazy, people would think I was being serious. And so in the aftermath of that Cooper trade, who was ever the Raiders coach that time, I made some joke about Jerry reaching out to the Raiders to find out if they had any cool plays that the Cowboys could run. And I forget exactly how I phrased it, but I mean, Yahoo and Bleacher Report and everybody started putting this as a headline and attributing that to Jerry. And I was like, oh no, they did not take it as a joke. Because I thought it was whatever way I phrased that, I thought it was outlandish enough that people would know it was a joke, and they didn't. The other one that happened to me was like on a draft day, and I had Jerry saying that he's asked the Cowboys scouting department to leave him alone during the draft to let him focus. And again, everybody that knows me and it covers the Cowboys, even Dez tweeted about that. They all knew I was joking, but that one took off, and Bleacher Report and everybody turned that into a headline. So, Scotty, I had to learn to watch it a little bit on some of my jokes and some of the way that stuff came across. All right, it is the Mosley Show. We have a lot going on today. We're going to get into some Campus Confidential, and when it's appropriate, we will play, or I'll at least talk about Sark. Steve Sarkisian has now joined Dabo, James Franklin, Brian Kelly. Elko even did it a little bit recently, not too bad, but he's joined these coaches. It's a bad look that when you start the season out as the number one team in the country, it's a bad look to start like, why are y'all beating up on us? Why do y'all do this to us? Why aren't you doing this to these other teams? Sark had a little bit of that pop up. We will talk about that moving forward. And we got a lot to get into you. Campus Confidential is next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Mosley, you know, I was talking about Underdog yesterday. I struck out yesterday. I went 2 for 4 on my picks. Patrick Mahomes only threw 1 touchdown last night, surprisingly. And then I didn't quite get the strikeouts that I had picked. Tomorrow, I will have my college football picks for the weekend on Underdog. We love playing Underdog. Again, use that promo code Mosley. Put in $5. They'll give you $50 in bonus cash just to play with. I don't know how you beat that deal, Matt. 10x your money. Jump in with us on Underdog.
That's good. That's good, Scotty. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Underdog, for being such a large part of what we do over here at Rogue and the Mosley Show. I also want to take this opportunity right now before we get into Kim's Confidential to talk about Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram in Waco. I reached out to Ted Teague, the GM out there, a longtime man that oversees what's all going on. And Ted's a great friend of the show, great friend of mine, and he was ready to jump on board and be a part of the Mosley Show. We're so appreciative of that. Huge savings, the best selection in Central Texas, powerful Ram trucks, adventure-ready Jeeps, and new Dodges, and they have the right ride for you. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram in Waco. Come by, let's be friends. And I sent my daughter off to school in one of those Alan Samuels Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredos. I got it for myself back in 2018. It's held up beautifully and a very safe car, and always love. And even out there when Alan Samuels, when they had all kinds of stuff going on with the roads and hard to get in there and all that kind of stuff. They never had COVID. I mean, all the craziness that was happening and all the shutdowns. Alan Samuels found a way, and they kept rolling out there. And so appreciate Ted Teague and appreciate the Alan Samuels. That's a great group, and we appreciate them being a part of the Mosley Show. Okay, Scotty, let's do some Campus Confidential. We do it every day around this time, and we take some of the biggest headlines around college football and college athletics. Scotty, what do you have in mind for us today?
Let me start with this, Matt. I'm sorry. I just can't stay away from the saga. It is way too funny for me. Let me make sure I got these images ready to go here. So before the season, there was this very exciting announcement from Hulu that they were going to be filming. I put the wrong graphic up there. There we go. It's okay. We can say hi to Brazos Landing a couple times. Anyway, there was this big announcement from Netflix that they were doing a huge documentary on Bill Belichick's first season as the head coach of North Carolina. And of course, today they announce, we're just not going to do that. We're actually just not going to, which is quite hysterical. Of course, what is funny about this, Matt, is we are halfway through the college football season. So the thought being, surely
Scotty, hold on one second. Now, as I recall this, Netflix was going to do one. They quashed it, and maybe something to do with that. But then I remember Belichick announcing that they were going to move forward with one, and it was Hulu doing it. And then Hulu was going to do a show, and so are you saying that they've pulled that show, that particular show, because it won? Yeah,
That is correct.
Okay, got it.
That is correct. So, the drama continues, and Matt, I really I saw a lot of tweets talking about what to do with this footage that Hulu certainly has, and I like this one from Peter Burns. Excuse me. Every single day, this becomes more embarrassing for everyone. If I'm Duke, I buy the rights to the footage they filmed and air it at every recruiting visit.
That's not bad. That's not bad. And I mean, the more everything that continues to come out is leading to his quick demise there. It's killing his legacy. I say it's his legacy is secure in pro football, but this is embarrassing, and it's altering the way he's going to be remembered, and it's become a big joke. And it's not just bad for Belichick. It makes UNC look really, really bad, because what they've gone from is, oh, we're tired of only winning 6 games or 8 games or whatever with Mac Brown. Let's bring in the greatest coach of all time. This is going to be some kind of huge thing. And then they brought in Mike Lombardi, who I've known for years, and I like Mike. But Mike's experience with college football was like 1981 through 1984 or something. Like UNLV football back in the day. Randall Cunningham might have been there back then. This goes way back. So these two guys just barely had any connection to college football, and UNC is just like, yeah, let them take over. Let's see what this goes. And it's turned into a really embarrassing situation. And I love. By the way, Scotty, it was nice to have Paul Feinbaum back on ESPN today. There was some talk, and there were some rumors out there that ESPN had banned him from a lot of its shows, which is weird because I feel like he's been really good for ESPN. But I guess the thought was maybe Paul was pursuing some of this political stuff, and he hadn't really told them about it. And of course, ESPN wants to stay away from some of that, especially the direction Paul's leaning with his politics. So don't know exactly what's happening there, but he was back on, what is that show? Not First Take. What's the morning show? Whatever. He was on.
Well, he was on both this morning. He was on Get Up and First Take this morning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So good to have Paul back a day after the rumors of his demise. All right. Are you starting to, do you think Bill Belichick's going to get year 2?
I actually made a prediction preseason, and I'm going to kind of roast Pete for this tomorrow. I didn't think he would get year 2 before the season. I have never, even when they made the hire, thought that the not football side of being a head coach in college football, the recruiting visits and the NIL and all these things, I had always thought that's going to drive him nuts. Or as one of my best friends likes to point out, when he has a cornerback that loses outside leverage because his girlfriend broke up with him the night before, Belichick's going to lose his mind that he's not working with professionals. So I don't think he gets year 2, and it won't surprise me. I never thought this was going to be something that would be long-term for him. I just don't see how he could be enjoying it.
Oh, I don't think he is. And that one story came out, and it was a little odd. It was like, it was a sports anchor from somewhere around there. And he wrote this long, interesting, anonymous quotes story that was like almost something you'd see on ESPN.com or The Athletic. And it was interesting, the breakdown. It was kind of like the defensive coordinator, Steve Belichick, doesn't talk to any of the players. These parents they talk to, he doesn't talk to them. He doesn't talk. I guess Mac Brown, and I'm sure Baylor's coaches do this, would occasionally, if something was going on with a player, would meet with the parents, and the parents were allowed around the program, and the position coaches would talk to the parents sometimes. And of course, the Belichicks are like, screw that. Like, we're not going to talk to anybody's parents. This is stupid. We're going to run this like the NFL. But what was funny is they said Brian Belichick, who has some role, I can't remember what he's coaching. First of all these position coaches are people that weren't really coaches. They were like recruiting coordinators at different places, and Belichick's brought them all in, and they were consultants to be coaches. And then, but I did like that the one Belichick that is personable is this Brian Belichick, and everybody loves this guy. Like, apparently all the players and the parents are like, yeah, he's great. Brian Belichick is great. But Steve and Bill won't even make eye contact with anybody. How did anybody ever think? I was intrigued by this, but I was kind of with you. There was a point where I wondered if they were going to, after that Jordan stuff took off and the weird, walking off the camera, there was a point I wondered if they were going to get to week 1. Like, if they might just pull the plug before the season. Like, that's how badly this thing was going. Now, I think they get this thing to the finish line, and I think they both are happy to part ways.
Yeah, there's no reason Carolina should want to keep him at this point. And I know their AD came out kind of bold a couple weeks ago and was like, "Hey, we're in this. It takes time to build a program." But the bottom line is, he's been an embarrassment off the field for a multitude of reasons. The publicity for the university is not good. There's no way you're getting good recruits with the dysfunction here. And all of that might be forgivable if he was just out coaching everybody and winning all these games. But they have lost their Power 4 games, 3 Power 4 games, by a combined score of 120-33. So on top of all of this off the field stuff, the on the field stuff is awful. They're going to finish worse than they finished last year with Mac. Worse. So yeah, I can't even wrap my brain around why the university would want to keep him another year. And certainly I just can't imagine. We had a guest on Pete's show today that said, well, Belichick's got this big ego and pride, and he's going to stay to prove that he can do it. And I'm thinking, no, this has to hurt his pride. Like, his pride is why I would think he would step down after a year, because you'd rather just have one horrible season than even attempt to go in the next year, do this all over again. I don't know, Matt. Yeah, I just can't see it lasting at all.
It's very embarrassing, and every school and organization should take note of this. You can see how they got intoxicated with the thought of having this unbelievable presence, icon, a guy that was desperate to get back into coaching, but it's like, oh my gosh, look at us. We were able to go hire Bill Belichick. You can see how it became something that they pursued. I can understand why some of the people and why they thought this might be fun and interesting and bring a program, an athletics program that is known way more for basketball than football. They thought, man, this is going to be fun because the spotlight's going to be on us. Well, be careful what you wish for, because the spotlight did get put on them, and it was a disaster. And it makes me appreciate Deion more, because while Deion did not have a good first season at Colorado, he had to try to pull off what Belichick has not pulled off, bringing in like 70 new players on the fly from the portal. His son's bringing people from Washington. And these stories, and they keep coming to mind, Scotty, is why I keep bringing them up, that I was reading about like two of the players who came from Washington are treated way different than any other player on the team. It's like the guys that Steve Belichick brought, there are two of them that are apparently their parents and whoever, loved ones, get to come down on the field before the games, and no other player gets that. Now, this is already in an environment where these kids probably all talk and they know who's making what, and they know it when somebody they think they're better than is making a much more money. Okay, that happens in like almost every company in the world, by the way. But it's happening in this very pronounced way. But apparently there's two of these star players they brought in that are getting this extremely preferential treatment. And it is an amazing thing. All right, Scotty, what else do we have in Campus Confidential, the quickest hitting segment in all of YouTube shows?
Well, you mentioned it earlier. I thought we'd go ahead and bring it up. Steve Sarkisian, of course, talking about Texas's loss at Florida. He's getting a little bit raked over the coals today for it, Matt. Let's see what your reaction is. Here's the clip.
Here's how so many people, including myself, could be wrong about your team, and how stunned are you?
I don't know if I'm stunned. I mean, take the other, how many teams are there in college football? 130, 36? Take the other 135 and have them go play at Ohio State and at the Swamp. See how they do.
Couple flaws in that statement, at least from my perspective, Matt. One, the expectations for the other 135 schools are not the same as the expectations placed on the number one ranked preseason team in the country. I think that is just ridiculous for him to shrug as if, well, look at it, what would all the other schools do, as if they weren't ranked number one to begin the season. Like, you have to understand, you're the University of Texas. You're not Miami of Ohio, right? Like there is a difference in what we expect of the top teams. But also, Sark says this after, Matt, South Florida went into the Swamp and got a win.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a place that is impossible. Florida was 1-4 going into that game. We're not talking about a place that is currently just the stalwart of all home field advantages. South Florida just went in there and got a win. You're the University of Texas, and you want to be like, oh, have all the other teams go to the Swamp. Oh, Matt, I think it's a pretty immature is probably a good word, or childish maybe. Kind of statement from Sark to blow off that reporter's question with that.
I don't think he blew. I mean, that's Kurt Bowles, and I don't think he blew it off at all. I think Kurt is. I think that was just. I think that was Sark's response, and he literally thinks. And this is why you're seeing this from some of these top coaches, and it's just so weird. Like to see Brian Kelly and Dabo, we've seen it for years from Dabo, but I think what he's basically saying is, what he'd really like to come out and say is, this is y'all's fault. Like y'all are the ones who rated us number one, and I think deep down what he's saying in private places is, we kind of maybe knew Arch wasn't going to be that great. Now he has to kind of come out, he's got to defend Arch, and he's got to say he's young and he hasn't had that much experience and all of that. But I think probably there had to be signs. Like, Sark and this offensive staff can't be as shocked as the rest of the country, because they got to see this guy over and over and over. And his delivery, the way that ball comes out, some of the weirdness that happens in these games, they had to be seeing that in practice. But I think Sark, who went to back-to-back playoffs, is basically saying, hey, we have it tougher than everybody else. Now, Scotty, you and I do know that that's ridiculous. I mean, Alabama, first of all, we didn't know Alabama had such a tough test to open the season against Florida State, but it turns out Florida State is much improved. But let's not act like Georgia Alabama, Texas A&M. I mean, every one of these schools. I mean, the schedule that Auburn and poor Arkansas have coming up is just horrible. Like Arkansas has already fired its head coach, and in November, there's a back-to-back-to-back thing that's just unlike anything you can imagine. Auburn has some of the same stuff coming up. There's never any let up. And to me, the argument he's trying to, while it also falls flat, Scotty, is because much like James Franklin, and I hate to do this because you gotta be, I mean, it's kind of like people want to knock Tech right now, and including me, by the way. But you can only play the schedule before you. Texas in these last back-to-back playoffs sort of got fat and happy off a schedule that did not exactly include a ton of top 20 or top 10 teams. In fact, if you look at Sark's time there at Texas, his record, much like James Franklin, against top 10 or top 20 teams is not that impressive. And so, but yeah, it really, the first thing you said was the best thing you said, is because you have to recognize when you're the University of Texas and when you have these incredible resources at your fingertips. You can't be the guy up there making this argument. I mean, what about these other 135 teams that had to go to the swamp at Ohio State? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but also, by the way, when South Florida, to your point, Scotty, went there and pulled off, and after that, we're like, maybe South Florida's pretty good. But at that time, we thought Florida was pretty good before that game, before Florida got beat by South Florida. Now we know Florida to be an extremely flawed team, a team that got manhandled by LSU 20-10, team that could not move the ball, a team with a quarterback that was throwing a bunch of interceptions, a team that was going to get its coach fired, talking about Billy Napier. This is the Florida that Texas went to face, and Texas never showed up in that game. The final score and the fact that they even pulled within 8 a couple of times in that game do not tell the story of how much they were dominated. This is not the Spurrier Florida. This is not Urban Meyer. This is a team that may yet end up firing its head coach. And yet Sark wants empathy. He wants sympathy for this schedule that he's had to play. Wow. Who are the 3 games they won? Scotty, tell us what we've won. It was like Sam Houston State. They might have had UTSA go in there, and that's a down year for them. No, that was A&M that played UTSA. I can't remember if Texas did or not. Did they have UTEP? I think UTEP. Yeah, I think UTEP was in there kind of giving them a hard time. And it was ugly at halftime. And the Miners, didn't let them get that much separation in that game. This is just a bad, overrated Texas team. And oh, by the way, Scotty, the thing that is scary to all Longhorns right now, there's 2 things. One is, I mentioned this the other day, but we probably can't talk about it enough. Arch isn't going pro.
No.
Arch is coming right on back to Austin, and everybody has to deal with that uncomfortable thought. Can Arch, and by the way, I hope he is. I don't want Texas. I never root for their success, but I certainly don't root against Arch as a player or person.
Sure.
What I love too is these little private things I'm getting now, like the UT, the TSIP, little, all the, whatever, the Sikkim 365 of UT, the burnt orange, and the stuff we're getting from them is starting to get whispers that Eli and Peyton and Archie, like the Manning clan, are not pleased with the personnel they've put around Arch. Whoa. Let me tell you something. If Arch gets interested, and I don't even know if that's true, but I am starting to hear some of that stuff from some of these sites. If Arch has any inclination to transfer or to shut this thing down and think about transferring, after what they've seen, I think UT fans and I think even Sark would allow it to happen. Boy, I find that interesting. Now, the other part of this, Scotty, the part, and you've been giving me a hard time, and last night I was trying to draw you off sides by my this Aggie thing you've been giving me a hard time about. But I'll tell you one thing that's true. This is making the Texas bad start, the Arch bad start. What's making that bigger is what's happening in College Station. If you don't think that's exacerbating and making the situation even worse, you haven't paid attention to these two schools for the past 100 years, like a lot of us have. And we haven't been around that long, but you know what I'm saying. Texas, one of the things Texas loved about being really good for a couple of years was that A&M was struggling, and then A&M had to fire Jimbo and all that. That even made the success more fun. It's flipped. Now, again, it's kind of like Texas Tech. I'm not about to say A&M's going to win a national title or A&M's a sure thing for a playoff. But you can't deny, Scotty, that they look really, really good right now. And heading into that game late this month against LSU, they could be sitting there at whatever that would be, 6-0 or 7-0. They're going to have a great shot at going to Death Valley, sitting there at 7-0. And that is making UT's misery all that much more, because the greatest ratings you ever get in Austin are, outside of like an A&M game, outside of a Texas game, is what A&M's games. And it's the same way in College Station, Bryan College Station. The ratings when the Longhorns play are through the roof. It's like the Cowboys. It's like all the people who tune in because they hate the Cowboys and they want the Cowboys to lose. It happens with those two fan bases. So I think you're getting a real rough dose. You're getting the double whammy of the A&M success and then the UT slide, and it's all hitting the horns at once, Scotty.
Those are good thoughts. I agree with you. And yeah, it's tense. It's tense in Austin. You mentioned Texas Tech, Matt. That's my last story of the day. I don't know if you saw this, but Texas Tech announced this morning they are redoing their branding. And there are mixed opinions about this online, but they are redoing all of their logos, quote unquote, modernizing them. So here's the new double T logo. And of course, the big talking point, they've removed the bevels, Matt. They have flattened out the T's, removing the bevels in the logo. I see some fans very excited about this. Even some Baylor fans commenting on how clean this looks. I've seen others say this is a downgrade. Let me show you a couple of the other updates. Here is the double T logo over the outline of the state. So again, you can see those bevels on the T's have been removed. The Guns Up logo simplified as well, taking out some of those, I guess what I would call like realism effects and flattening it out just a little bit. And then I did laugh, Matt. I saw a tweet point this out. As for the logo with the horse, they actually added some bevel effects just to the horse here to add some texture and depth to the horse. But Texas Tech, big rebrand putting into effect. I saw them painting this new double T logo onto the basketball court. Matt, any thoughts on the Texas Tech updated brand?
Yeah, I thought when they put that double T, I thought that was like a huge thing to that fan base at the stadium. Didn't they redo that area or something?
Yes.
And I thought that was kind of like a big deal. And so to me, that's such a huge part of who they are. It is interesting that can you imagine, like, even just a 1 week blackout probably made A&M fans mad. Imagine if they just started, like, guys, I think we're going to be, black uniforms most of the time, and the yell leaders are going to be in black full time now. I mean, imagine what that would be like at a place like A&M or even at UT. I think some rebranding at UT. Now, I'm looking at what you're talking about. The thing in front of the state of Texas, that almost kind of has a Tarleton State look to it. And I'm not trying to hate on the Tech people. I'm just saying that the one with the solid black and the T under it in front of the state, that does not totally scream Texas Tech as much as you think it does. I don't even understand the horse. That symbol's too small for me to even comment on. And the guns up thing, that almost to me looks more like an emoji. What's the biggest change to that? I don't totally understand.
Yeah, they took out, so you can see in the old image, there's some like detail accent lines to mark like the knuckles and the fingers and kind of in the palm, like some detail lines that they removed, and they just simplified it. I didn't think emoji when I saw the updated. I thought video game logo. It looks like something that would be in the college football 26 game, instead of maybe something you'd put on a brand. I don't hate the new guns up thing though. I think, my personal opinion, I'm a little conflicted on the new primary logo. I don't know that removing beveling and 3D texture actually improves the logo. I know that is the modern style, is to kind of simplify and flatten things out, but I'm not sure I like the new double T as much as the one they've replaced.
Yeah, I just looked at the one that they put on the basketball court. It does not look as good as the new one on the football field. And you go, well, Mosley, it's the same logo. It doesn't look totally right on the basketball court. So again, and I'm sure they would love to, our favorite Baylor graphics or whatever. I'm sure they would have opinions on that. To me, it's just funny that something that's so beloved, like the blocked, double T, because I've always thought it was interesting that both A&M, it's like one thing they agree on. They're like way into that blocked lettering. The blocked A&M is a huge thing for them. They love it, right? The block, they even call it the blocked A&M club or the blocked T club. And in Texas, that famous UT, the old Fred Akers looking hat that kind of sat up high on your head, that's an iconic deal. I mean, I may not like UT, but I can recognize that brand and that logo is extremely iconic. So I don't know why you mess too much with if the double T is your iconic deal. I don't know, but Scotty, that's why I like having you. You seem to have a feel for sort of graphics, and even when you talk about bevels, I still don't know what those are. That confuses me, but I really like having you so you can mention things like that.
By the way, Baylor went through this in a less dramatic way several years back now, but when the interlocking BU used to be more of like an outlined design with kind of a more blocky look. And you remember, Matt, they shifted several years ago now to the new which is flattened out. They removed the outline. It's just plain green or plain gold now. And then they added those little cutaways on the B and on the U as a trademark deal. So Baylor did this a few years ago, and the reality is I remember some people complained when Baylor did that, and now nobody cares. Like, nobody really minds. So I have a feeling, Tech, like, we'll get used to it in a year or two and it'll be fine. But I'm seeing here in our live chat, Bobby B says old Texas Tech logo much better. So I know some folks not thinking that this is so much an upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, because whatever they were doing at their stadium, Scotty, I remember that being such a big deal. The block T and Joey talking about that, but whatever. I mean, again, I will say, and I'm going to the A&M Florida game because Baylor doesn't have a game. I'm going to go see my daughter, and I'll be at the game. And Scotty, even that game day experience from the time that you remember A&M being in the Big 12, and I'm sure you went to Kyle Field for a couple of games back then, you would be shocked. Have you been to an A&M game in the past like 5 years or not?
No, I went last. I went to an A&M game in 2017. Was the last time I was there.
Okay.
I saw Auburn come to town. I went to see Stidham play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot that you were like part of Stidham's traveling party. You're a Stidham groupie.
I'm a Stidham fan. Yeah.
Scotty, the atmosphere, like the stuff they do leading up to them coming out. And I showed you a couple of things after game or leading up to that last game. I think I sent you, and I know you're getting tired of but it's pretty wild. But the only reason I bring it up is because it's what Tech's trying to do. But what A&M's done is update a ton of their game day presentation, their entire game presentation, and they finally figured out a way to meld all those old creaky traditions, which are fun. I mean, we can make fun of them, but it's kind of their thing, right? The Aggie band and all the stuff they do, that's an interesting thing. But man, the melding of that with all the music, and one thing Baylor could stand to do is do that thing they do at Bama and A&M and other places now and get some lighting stuff going. Like, that's a pretty incredible thing. Like at the end of the third quarter, when you're at one of these massive SEC stadiums and they're able to do all that crazy stuff with their lighting. Okay, I don't go around. That's not why I choose to go to a game, because of that stuff. But you can't, like, that stuff works. Like, the fans love that stuff. And I'm not sure we have that capability at McLean, like to even flash any lights or really do much of anything. All right. So that's just one thing to consider. All right, Scotty, good stuff, man. That was a Campus Confidential with legs. I mean, that has really rolled us in even into the 2:00 hour. We saw something crazy last night in the NFL. I want to comment on Monday Night Football, and then I got to get into some things that are going on with the Dallas Cowboys. As Scotty continues to try to tell you, this is still a very meaningless season, and it's a ride to nowhere. I'm seeing signs of the exact opposite. We discuss next.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mosley Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss.
All right, Mosley Show, taking you into the 2 o'clock hour. And Scotty, warm up the breaking news sounder. We do have Jerry Jones news during Campus Confidential. It hit. And I'm so transfixed. I love that. I also, Scotty, if you can, let's show the folks what led to this. We've got news on Jerry, and we probably need footage of Jerry. The inadvertent, this is what is being referred to by Jerry as an inadvertent middle finger. He gave the thumbs up sign, then gave the middle finger, and now what I'm trying, okay, let's look at this one more time, Scotty. What is Steven doing? Is Steven going for refreshments? Did Steven see his dad do this? Or did Steven go to shake hands with somebody behind him or do a high five? Did he even notice what his dad was doing here? And see, you can't get away with any of this with all the cell phone cameras. I mean, somebody is responsible in those stands for this showing up in video. You know what I've decided to do too, Scotty, before I make this major breaking news announcement? Mosley breaking news. I am going to stop watching fights at stadiums. Like, they're always horrible and stupid and sometimes sickening and bloody, and it reminds you of maybe why you probably shouldn't be taking your kids to some of these stadiums with all these drunks. Now, fortunately, they don't allow anything in McLean, so you don't really have too much of a chance of getting in some huge fight. But I am tired of these coming across my social media, and so I vow today to stop watching these things. I don't want to see them anymore. I saw some horrible fight between University of Houston fans fighting themselves, and it was horrible. A bunch of haymakers. Scotty, why are we drawn to these things? Why do we want, I'm tired of it. And so I am going to stop watching those. I'm making this announcement today. So Scotty, if you will hold me accountable in that, all right. I have joined a new Bible study, but I'm not big on accountability partners. I don't really like sharing a lot of things with people. All right, Scotty, here we go. Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones is being fined $250,000 by the NFL for his, quote, inadvertent obscene gesture. We're going to show it again. Toward fans at MetLife Stadium on Sunday, a source told Adam Schefter. This news breaking just a few minutes ago. Videos on social media showed him flashing the middle finger. This is what is covering the Cowboys is all about. Things like this. Now, Scotty, let's, for our audience that's just come in with us, our 1 to 3 audience that has joined us on the YouTube, and some of them will be listening to it later. But let's go ahead and show them, if we can, Jerry's response when he was asked about this middle finger. Let's share that with our folks.
You gave the Jet fans the finger. Were you just telling them how many wins they're going to have this year, or is that like their IQ?
That was unfortunate that was a kind of a exchange with our fans out in front of us. There was a swarm of Cowboy fans out in front, not Jet fans, Cowboy fans. And the entire stadium was brimming with the enthusiasm of Cowboys, and certainly late in the game. And that was inadvertent on my part, because that was right after we'd made our last touchdown, and we were all excited about. There wasn't any antagonistic issue or anything like that. I just put up the wrong show on the hand, but that was inadvertently done. And I'm not kidding. It was, if you want to call it accidental, you can call it accidental, but it got straightened around pretty quick. I've had a chance to look at it. It got straightened around pretty quick, but the intention was thumbs up. And then basically pointing at our fans, because everybody was jumping up and down excited.
If you want to call it accidental. Oh, you wonder. People are like, why would you ever want to cover that team? Or I don't like that guy. I mean, my gosh, it's too much fun. It's too much fun. I know it grates on, I'm sure, some fans, but, one of the few owners that'll get caught doing something like that and then have some kind of crazy explanation. $250,000 is what he'll have to pay. And of course, that's train ride money for Jerry Jones. But again, he probably would prefer not to have to stroke that check to the league. I mean, what a dumb thing to do. I mean, Scotty, now let me ask you this. I would say you have definitely been flipped off by another driver. It's happened to all of us, even if we really didn't feel like we did too much wrong. We've all been flipped off. Now, we've probably all, maybe we did it in joking. We've probably all, and hopefully not a lot of times in our life, we've probably all extended the middle finger at some point. Scotty, is that something that you're tempted to do on the roadway, or do you not, or are you very reluctant to do that? Because I would say, given the road rage that's out there, it's probably not a smart thing to do.
I'm not much of a road rage. I'm not very susceptible to road rage, Matt, to be honest with you. So I don't think I cannot. I'll answer this question the way I answered a question towards the beginning of our show about Hennessy. I cannot recall ever. It doesn't mean I've never done it. I cannot recall a time. I don't believe I have. I use that gesture, if I will, way more, and I might be oversharing here. It for me is usually more of a joking gesture with very, very, very close friends. In comedic situations more than anything else.
Okay. Comedic type deal. You know,
I can sincerely say I don't know that I've ever done that gesture in the way that is hateful.
Yeah.
I don't believe I have. And I don't even know. I struggle to remember, not that I never have, a time where I did it in the way Jerry just did it, which was, I think, kind of a half sarcastic but half serious, shove it kind of manner.
You know, the yell leaders do a certain kind of the go to hell, not that thing, but a different kind of go to hell sign. They do that when it's time to do the big cheer, beat the hell out of, whoever they're playing, Florida. And one of the greatest Christian men I've ever known in my life is the one who came up with that back in the 60s. And of course now it's BTHO, whoever they're playing. Everybody wears the patch or whatever on their outfit at A&M games. And it was a guy who is now, at least this is what I've heard over the years, who is a regent at A&M. And I mean, could not be a more upstanding guy, but he was a head yell leader back in the day. And Scotty, it's that sign you make with your, I don't know if I should do it, but kind of with your arms. And that's what the yell leaders do when it's time to say, beat the hell out of Florida or whatever.
I know the sign, and I have mostly seen people laugh at how they have had to animate that gesture into the college football video games as part of the environmental stuff at Kyle Field.
All right, I did like, Scotty, this Cowboys quote from Brian Schottenheimer. Rico Dowdle, after the game the other day, he had like 206 yards for the Panthers. Had a huge game. He used to be the running back for the Cowboys. And Rico was quoted saying that the Dallas defenders need to, quote, buckle up this Sunday. Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer yesterday said, we're going to bring our seatbelts, Rico. We'll buckle up. I like it. He also did the thing. He was asked about it. He said his kids recently asked how he was doing with it, with his offensive play calling. And he said, I was like, 6'7", 6'7". Okay, Scotty, would you finally explain this to me? Because people of my generation still, we know that it's being said a lot, and even younger kids are loving this, whatever the saying is. 6'7", 6'7". If you write it, it's 6-7, 6-7. Scotty, what does this involve? What does it even mean? Can you explain it to me?
Matt, I'm gonna be on your side on this one. Actually, I don't know. Is
Lizzie in there? Can
Lizzie is. Would you like Lizzie to come on real quick? Lizzie, you want to jump on camera real quick?
Yeah.
To explain what 6'7" is.
She did not know. She was.
Are you lying? Are you lying? Or are you serious? Lizzie also doesn't know, apparently.
She doesn't want to. She's decided she doesn't want to come on the Mosley show today. She absolutely knows. She's in the target demo for this. But this is like some kind of huge saying. 6'7", 6'7". All right, in the comments, if somebody wants to explain this to me, I thought a man in his early 30s would know it. I certainly thought Lizzie, like straight out of Baylor, would know this, but I'm surrounded myself with people that are just like me. They're not really plugged into what's happening around. But anyway, this is some kind of saying that Brian Schottenheimer came out and they said, hey, you know about that? And he said, yeah, I'm 51. I'm not 90. The other thing he said that grabbed my attention was that Javonte Williams, like this thought of using Miles Sanders and using Jaden Blue as complementary backs. Sure. Can they get a couple of carries? Yes. But the committee by running back era has ended with the Dallas Cowboys. Javonte Williams leads the NFC in rushing, on pace right now to rush for 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. Okay, we're only through 5 games. Let's not get carried away. But that's what he's on pace for. And he simply just said, Schottenheimer said, Javonte is the bell cow, and he's earned that. We believe in him. Williams said it just feels good for them to have trust in me. All right, so there you go. That Javonte Williams, who, as Scotty pointed out yesterday, played at UNC, and I think UNC even tweeted about him. They just weren't able to tweet about Drake May. I mean, Scotty, think about it. You were bringing up the fact this other story is pretty big today about every day there's something embarrassing. One was the story that anybody that played with anybody with the Patriots, the UNC couldn't put it on social media. They've had to clean that up. So now they're allowed to brag on Drake May, the former UNC great, when he performs well with the Patriots. That was embarrassing. And today, big news, in fact, it's headlining some of ESPN, is that the Hulu documentary that they were doing is off. I mean, they basically, think about that. You agreed to a documentary. It was going to be that, of course, Scotty had that story earlier. That Hard Knocks type documentary with Netflix was scrapped early over the summer, and then they agreed to chronicle the season with a Hulu, and the team has scrapped plans for that documentary series. I mean, you send a director, you send a film crew, you got them moving to Chapel Hill. They're in there from day one. They've got thousands. I mean, Scotty, you said it, and that was a very funny comment by Peter Burns saying that somehow Duke should try to buy all the footage of this. But this is incredible. The nixing the Hulu project likely has far more to do with the on-field issues Belichick is facing at Carolina. They've lost 3 games versus Power 4 opponents by a combined score of 120 to 33. I mean, it's unbelievable. Michael Lombardi sent. He raised eyebrows with a letter to donors last week asking for patience with the program during a, quote, rebuilding period. And it's really bad. Like the receiver Jordan Shuck pushed back against following the Clemson loss. He said, I'm not here to rebuild. I'm here to win football games. That's why I'm here. Whatever they're doing with the donors, that has nothing to do with me. I'm here to win football games. And that's what 100% of my focus is on. Worst decision Belichick has ever made. Why would you? I mean, first of all, it did not end well with the Patriots. He was done, but he could have gone off into the sunset at age 73 with a 24-year-old girlfriend. He might be 74 now, and millions upon millions of dollars. Could have kept doing any TV he wanted. Could have written any book he wanted. The world, I mean, like, could have been one of the great retirements ever, but his ego did not allow him to do it. The ego said, I've got to show the Kraft family that I can go over here to North Carolina and I can win at the collegiate level. And Carolina was gullible enough to think, and this is the stuff, they were betting on not only his coaching acumen, but they were dumb enough to bet on Hulu and Netflix and ESPN, and everybody's going to come calling. And this will elevate our program to a place of such relevance where we've been irrelevant in the college football space for many, many years. They may have had, like, over the years, 1 or 2 in the past 25 years, 10 or 11 win seasons. That's it. I mean, they weren't even that relevant when they had Lawrence Taylor, one of the great pass rushers of all time. I don't even think, and of course I was too young to even remember what they were like back then, but I promise you they weren't that relevant. And you know what, Scotty? It was true. Carolina was right that all these people would suddenly care about them. What they didn't understand is some of the things you brought up earlier. He wasn't cut out for this. He's only a football guy. He has the personality of our shoe. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant football mind. But the ebbs and flows of 18 to 22-year-olds who can transfer at the drop of a hat, these folks need to be paid. They need to be coddled. They need to be reminded of how great they are. Even if Baylor finishes on a great run, which I hope they do, it's still going to be, it's still going to be them having to re-recruit their own players at the end of the year. We need you to stay, and yes, we can take care of you. We'll commit this much money to you. That is the way of the world right now, and Belichick isn't cut out for it. And he brought this group with him. That's the scary thing. These people like Belichick and others that try to bring all their family members with them. I mean, these things almost never work. You point to me a collegiate. I'll show you, and I hate to say this, but the truth is this. Bruce Pearl's son in Tennessee could be irrelevant within 2 or 3 seasons. They may have enough good players left over from Bruce Pearl to be good this season. They're 2 years removed from being irrelevant again. No, it's just, I'm just telling you the facts. It's Stephen Pearl. It's not the real deal. It's not Bruce Pearl. And Bruce Pearl, by the way, is a dyed-in-the-wool, great coach, great college person, great personality. You took a guy, when has it worked for a great NFL coach to come down and be good at the collegiate level? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like Pete Carroll was kind of an okay NFL coach who got his rear fired for not being a good enough coach, and he became an unbelievable college football coach. But let's not act like he was a great NFL coach. No, it happened the opposite way. He was a mediocre NFL coach, becomes a great NFL coach, goes back up and becomes a extremely good coach for the Seattle Seahawks. It never works that way. Like Harbaugh was a great college coach. It translated well to the NFL, came back, was cheated, but was great at Michigan and has gone back to the pros. So, Scotty, I guess what I'm saying is this thought of like incredible and like a really successful college, NFL coach becoming great at the collegiate level, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It happens the other way around. Urban was great at the collegiate level and then was horrible at the pro level. It's more like that. So, and then what happens is they bring all these hangers on. They bring all their family members with them. It's a rough story because, you could, to your point, Scotty, if you really did say that at the time, which I have no reason to believe you didn't, you were right. It was a bad move. The only reason I was intrigued is because of exactly what happened. They did, for a brief period of time, get a ton of attention and a ton of interest into their program. But how long has that lasted? Now, the attention is only because of how horrible he is and how embarrassing is he. And now, Scotty, we have Paul Feinbaum literally saying he's gone from the greatest pro football coach in history to the worst college coach in history. That may be a little strong, but right now it's hard to push back. It's hard to push back too much on that. Why in the world, as a coach, they just never do get it, do they? Why would you risk your legacy and allow something like this? And Scotty, I'll tell you the reason. It's the oldest reason in the book. It is ego. It is just enormous ego. And it's the whole reason, like Billy Clyde Gillespie and coach after coach goes too high. They go too high and it ruins their career. The whole don't mess with Happy thing. Yeah, could Billy Clyde Gillespie turn down Kentucky? Well, if he had, he may have had another 5 to 10 years at A&M and been viewed as one of the great coaches in America. He had made basketball relevant at Texas A&M, which is dang near impossible to do. Buzz tried, but Buzz never really did. Even the guy after Billy Clyde tried, who was that? Not Mark, what's his name, who went to Maryland. You can't do it. It's almost impossible at A&M to do that. So anyway, there is your story. We had the Sark thing earlier today, and I did want to finish up today with just a little bit more breaking news. Scotty, let's give our folks what they want, and let's get the breaking news sounder one more time, please. All right, we'll hit you with a couple. Bengals have traded for Joe Flacco. He had been benched with the Browns, and now he'll get to go. I mean, if you're at his age, do you really want to go start? Do you want to go start for a team where he's just going to try to get them to the end of the year? They have no playoff chance. Burrow's not coming back. Like, is that something you really want to do? So there's that. And then this story that is interesting in Texas OU week. This is fascinating. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer is pushing to return for Saturday's game against Texas. Sources told ESPN earlier today. Pete Thamel had this story. There's a belief that Mateer, his return less than 3 weeks after hand surgery, is possible, according to sources, as he's reacted well to the operation. It's unclear when a decision on Mateer being available to play will be made, as Oklahoma coach Brent Venables has said publicly that it's uncertain when he will return. I don't see it happening. He would be 17 days out of surgery. Venables said Tuesday that Mateer is going through, quote, his normal protocol, but he emphasized the quarterback had done zero good-on-good work. He said, I don't know anything about the injury. When they tell me he's available, I'll let you know. Scotty, that's our eighth lie of the day from a head coach. You think that the head coach doesn't know anything about his star quarterback's injury. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. That sounds absolutely reasonable there. Michael Hawkins Jr. started at quarterback for Oklahoma against Kent State. He passed for 162 yards, ran for 33 in the victory, completing 14 of 24 attempts and throwing for 3 touchdowns. All right, you can't really measure anything about anything that happened against Kent State. Scotty, do you give, if Mateer can't go, and I would only give him about a 3 to 5% chance of playing. So let's say he doesn't go and they go with Michael Hawkins. Now, I've seen some early lines on this game, and I think we'll see some movement because there is going to be big betting on this game. Did I read that UT's favored in this game? I thought I saw that they'd opened as like 1.5 favorites. We need to see what the latest line is, but it seems shocking considering what happened at the Swamp. But let's remember,
you are correct.
Okay, I know that seems shocking. I understand it because, first of all, I think the bettors, and I think it's hard to believe that they would have more faith in Arch than Hawkins Jr., given how we've watched Arch play. But we just don't know. We know how Hawkins Jr. functioned in this atmosphere a year ago. He and Jackson Arnold and everybody who got thrown into these situations were just awful. And it was a walkover. Now, OU is better on defense, way better on defense. Better supporting staff, better receivers. Last year they came into this game, they had like 5 receivers out. They fortified that. They're good at tight end. They're way better than they were at running back. So I would lean toward OU on this line, and I would expect some movement on this line. But again, that's why it's hard to bet this game. Because while Texas looked horrible in the Swamp, and this quarterback has looked so bad against good teams, I think probably Art showed enough signs at moments in that game where at least the betting, the odds makers, the bookmakers, they saw enough to favor the Longhorns in this thing. And remember, it's hard to look at what everybody's doing coming into this game when it comes to this rivalry. The one thing I can promise you, I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. And I'm thinking, to me, this feels like about a 17-14 or a 22. Okay, Scotty, from what you're seeing, how much movement has there been on this line? Because I thought I saw early on Texas opened up at about 1.5. How much movement are we seeing on this? Scotty, man.
Sorry, I'm looking.
That's okay. I would think that
we're still early in the week. We'll probably have a better answer in a couple of days.
It opened
1.5. Correct.
And it's kind of hovered. It's kind of stayed right in there.
Yeah, it looks like right now I'm looking across several sports books. It's still right at about 1.5. Yep.
If Mateer were healthy,
I think Oklahoma would be favored by 3 or 4. I might.
If Mateer were healthy, OU would be favored by 6.5 or 7.
There you go.
He's that good, and he makes that much of a difference. But now, what's going to be weird about this line is they don't. If this is a game time decision, this is tough because they want people to bet on this game, and they already are betting on this game. but there would be a desire to take this. This is a hard one. This is a hard call. But to your point, Scotty, here's where this thing ends up. Right now, if it's a point or a point and a half, the money is going to come in on OU this week, even with Michael Hawkins Jr. if he's starting. And this line's going to move. And I think by kickoff, this thing will be OU by 2 or 2.5. But again, what's driving a lot of this is this Mateer story is fascinating, and we will watch. We will watch that with great interest. We had a lot of fun with our Sark stuff earlier in the show. Man, we had a lot of good stuff today, and we got some stuff lined up. I mean, I don't know, one way or the other. I'm going to try it because I had him on a couple of months ago. It's going to be a busy week. I may try to. The problem is, Scotty, now this is not someone you get on a computer, unless I can send somebody over there. But he just turned 88 2 days ago. I wished him happy birthday. I'd like to get Switzer on again, and I think that would be fun. Switzer on a huge week. All right, this has been fun, Scotty. It is the Landing. We appreciate the Brazos Landing. We appreciate all our fine sponsors. We appreciate Central National Bank, our presenting sponsor, Ascension Providence, Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James Law Firm, and of course Schmaltz's Trivia, Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop. We'll do the trivia on Thursday, but get over to Brazos Landing. We loved our live show over there, and then we have all kinds of things coming up in that area with the Brazos Landing. For Scotty Swingler and Rogue Media Network, I am Matt Mosley. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.